The world groaned under the weight of its own decay. The age of giants had come, and with it, an age of insatiable hunger. The Nephilim, born of a forbidden union, had consumed everything. The fields lay barren, stripped bare of grain and fruit. The pastures were silent, emptied of every last goat and sheep. The rivers ran red, not with clay, but with the blood of men and beasts. Having devoured creation, the giants turned their monstrous appetites upon man, hunting humanity to the brink of extinction. Now, driven by a famine of their own making, they turned on each other. A brutal civil war raged across the blighted lands. Mountains trembled as titans clashed, their roars of fury shaking the very foundations of the earth. They fought over the last scraps of food, the last pockets of untainted water, the last remaining humans huddled in terrified silence. Their war was a race against oblivion, a desperate, violent scramble that threatened to tear the world apart before the promised flood could even begin. The air was thick with the stench of death and the smoke of sacrificial pyres, a constant, blasphemous offering to their own insatiable rage. In the heavens, the Creator watched. The time for mercy had passed. The time for judgment was at hand. A tear appeared in the fabric of the storm-choked sky. Not a rip, but a seamless, silent parting of the clouds. From this celestial gate, a single point of light descended, growing brighter, sharper, as it fell toward the tormented world. It was an angel, solitary and serene amidst the chaos. He wore no armor, for no weapon forged by mortal or Nephilim hands could touch him. In his grasp, he held a sword not of steel, but of pure, divine light, the blade that hummed with the power of creation itself. His face was a mask of perfect calm, his eyes holding the cold, distant fire of 1,000 stars. He was not a warrior driven by passion, but an instrument of divine will, an executor of a final, terrible decree. His mission was simple, precise, and absolute: to cull the Nephilim, to reduce their warring numbers by 1/3, and to prepare the way for the cleansing waters. He was the overture to the deluge. He moved through the land like a phantom, a whisper of righteous death. He did not run, he simply was. One moment, he stood atop a scarred cliff overlooking a battlefield where two giants tore at each other's throats. The next, he was between them, his sword of light a silent, sweeping arc. There was no clang of metal, only a soft, hissing sound as the celestial blade passed through corrupted flesh. The two titans fell, their immense bodies crashing to the earth, their lifeblood steaming on the dry ground. The angel did not pause to watch them fall. He was already gone, a flicker of light on the horizon, moving toward his next target. He walked through camps of feasting giants, his presence unnoticed until his sword flashed. He descended into valleys where they fought and died, and with each silent, efficient strike, he brought a final, chilling peace. A new emotion began to ripple through the Nephilim hordes. Fear. For the first time in their violent existence, they, the apex predators, knew what it was to be hunted. They had never known a power greater than their own. They had defied the heavens, enslaved humanity, and consumed the world. But this silent, glowing figure was different. He was not of the earth. He could not be fought, could not be reasoned with, could not be stopped. Panic erupted. The giants, who had never known retreat, scattered, They abandoned their battles, their spoils, their sacrifices. They scrambled for purchase, seeking refuge in the deep places of the earth. They hid in forests, plunged into the murky depths of lakes, and crawled into the darkest caves, hoping to escape the calm, inevitable judgment that stalked the land. Their roars of fury were replaced by whimpers of terror, the echoes of their fear a new sound in the dying world. In the black heart of a mountain, two of the giants, brothers in blood and carnage, huddled in the damp darkness of a sprawling cavern. Their names were Hophni and Phinehas. They'd fled from a valley where the angel had reaped a dozen of their kind in the space of a few heartbeats. Here, in the belly of the rock, they thought they were safe. They held their breath, listening to the drip of water and the frantic pounding of their own hearts. For hours, there was only silence, a flicker of hope ignited in the gloom. Perhaps the angel had passed them by. Perhaps they had been spared. Then, a soft light bloomed at the mouth of the cave. It was not the warm red light of a torch, but a pure white luminescence that cast no shadows. The angel stood before them, his form silhouetted against the impossible brightness. His sword of light pulsed gently, illuminating the terror on their gargantuan faces. The brothers scrambled backward, pressing themselves against the cold stone, their massive frames trembling. The angel took a single, unhurried step into the cave. His voice, when it came, was not a shout, but a quiet, resonant tone that filled the cavern, vibrating in their very bones. The Lord God has commanded that I claim 1/3 of your kind. My count is nearly complete. I require only one more soul to fulfill my quota. He looked from Hophni to Phinehas, his gaze steady, unreadable. You are the last I will find before the rains begin. I will take one of you from this cave. The choice of who it will be, I leave to you. Silence descended once more, heavier and more terrifying than before. The angel simply stood, patient, his glowing sword a silent testament to the ultimatum. The brothers looked at each other. In Hophni's eyes, Phinehas saw not the bond of kinship, but the raw, desperate glint of self-preservation. He saw the same feral hunger that had driven them to devour the world, now turned inward. A silent, frantic calculus played out between them. Who was stronger? Who was faster? Who was more willing to do the unthinkable to survive? Phinehas saw Hophni's knuckles whiten as he gripped a jagged rock. The betrayal was instantaneous. With a guttural roar, Hophni lunged, bringing the rock down upon his brother's head. Phinehas fell with a choked gasp, his stunned eyes fixed on the face of his murderer. Hophni stood over his brother's cooling body, panting, his chest heaving. He had won. He had saved himself. He turned his eyes, wide with a mix of horror and relief, to the silent angel. He dropped the bloody rock and fell to his knees. It is done, he rasped, his voice trembling. I have made the choice. Take him. Spare me. The angel's expression did not change. He remained as calm, as impassive as a marble statue. He took another step forward, the light from his sword intensifying, bathing the triumphant, terrified giant in a holy, unforgiving glow. The angel raised his blade. Hophni stared, confused. What are you doing? I chose. He is the one. I am the survivor. The angel's quiet voice echoed in the cave one last time, a final, chilling clarification. You misunderstand? He paused, letting the weight of his words settle in the suffocating air. When I arrived, my count was one short of its total. Your brother's death has just now fulfilled my quota. The light of the sword flared, brilliant and absolute. But my directive was to call 1/3 of all Nephilim. You are still a Nephilim. And I still need one more. The angel turned and walked from the cave, leaving behind the silence of the mountain and the perfect, terrible symmetry of divine justice. His work was not cruelty, it was order. It was not rage, it was obedience. He was merely an instrument, a harbinger of the final judgment that would soon wash the world clean. His task was complete. Now, all that was left was to wait for the rain. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, consider following our channel for more tales from the edge of history and myth.